We're live. Woo! So
Okay.
you can clearly see we're doing spring fever, but one of us went one way and one decided to go the other. There was no memos exchanged on what the dress code was going to be. We showed up the way we were feeling today, and I have to apologize because it's almost like the people who have already packed away their parkas in their big their big boots and
It's
all
their
the
fault.
all the layers, thermal underwear and all the long johns and all that stuff. They've packed it away, and I feel like we talked about spring and we jinxed that. And because what's happening today? We're getting a big freaking snowstorm.
Welcome to Alberta.
Well, and
It wasn't literally the first day of spring. We actually got snow as well.
yes, we did, and we will be getting it May long. It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's AKA calving season. When I was growing up, it was always you tell me it's calving season without telling me it's calving season, and you just show a blizzard picture and a poor little calf. One of Kyle's cousins had a picture. They had in the back seat there was a car seat with a kid and a little calf covered in snow that had just been born, and they had to take it in and warm it up. So there you go, folks. Welcome to spring.
Spring in Alberta. We got snow,
well, in Canada,
calves, right in Canada, yeah. Snow, calves, and babies. Well, we kind of wanted to go into a little bit about, okay, what is spring? We talk about spring, but there is like, what is actually spring? And we know it as the spring equinox. So I'm going to, because I was like, you know what? I love that we are able and we have all this knowledge just at our fingertips all the time. So it's like, why not share a little bit of our knowledge that we have at our fingertips? And of course, we want to know what is spring. Most everybody's like, okay, spring is flowers. It is the grass is growing, and it's like April showers bring May flowers. April snow brings May, whoa, if you will.
Whoa.
Right? It's sad. But anyway, so technically it is an astronomical event, usually occurring on March 19th, 20th, or 21st. It's when the sun crosses the celestial equator, bringing roughly equal day and night lengths globally. Interesting. So it marks the start of spring in the northern hemisphere, symbolizing renewal, balance, and fertility. Hence, we said the new calves, and I think even though we get snow, it brings moisture, right? Because everyone's like, well, we need moisture. And again, it's like April shower, spring Mayflowers. So that can be kind of a bit of the, the renewal of the ground and the fertility even of the ground. Because I know you do like farming stuff. So I'm like, oh, we'll just tap on that. So
okay, I grew up on a farm, just so we're clear. I garden and flower beds now, and that's it for my farming. Yeah, even my brother's retiring this year. He's got a farm auction next week of his big equipment, and he's even retiring. So less and less farming for our family, but that's all right.
Yeah. I mean, you're shifting now into something a little bit different, right? Which is all good.
Exactly.
It's interesting.
That's something with spring, is that we're shifting a season. We're shifting from kind of coming out of a slower rest period. The earth kind of rests during winter in most of the earth. And then we're kind of, the sap is rising, and the temperatures are rising. The sun is longer shining in our days. And it is a bit of a transformation and a shift. But I think what's really important, and I'm going to jump on this right away while I think of it, is we do have these setbacks. We do have where it's like, wait a minute, I thought it was spring, and now we're getting how many inches of snow and a blizzard and ice, and then we know it won't be the last one. And I think that's almost a parallel for life as well. When you're shifting, it's not just linear. It's just not all uphill, and you make all these changes and you get it all sorted out and figured out, and it's just step forward, step forward, step forward. There's a lot of step back. There's a lot of ups and downs, and I think this just
Yeah.
kind of is an example of that. And we often talk about maybe trying to pace ourselves with nature. It's a lot something I come across quite often. And this is a reminder that nature has its cycles, nature has its seasons, but part of that are these, like we say, it's almost always say May long weekend or during calving season or whatever it might be, that we're going to see some of this weather that this doesn't, it feels like it's going backwards.
Okay, but you say that. And then I was like, immediately, I thought, okay, we are so blessed here, though, that we get Indian summers where it's September, October. There's no snow yet. Even November, we've had Novembers because I'm a November baby and I always keep tabs on the weather. Like, because I'm like, what can I do for my birthday other than stay home because it's so freaking cold all the time? But sometimes it is. It's actually, fairly decent outside. There's no snow.
Yeah.
So, what do we want, right? Like if we get it a little longer, then I always think, oh, well, then we'll get like a longer summer. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
But I think patience. I think, if we have a
Yep.
little Mother
Yeah.
Nature's like, okay, kids, I'm going to give you something, but just be patient, right? And the good things come to those who wait.
Yes, and there's a little embrace the suck. And I interviewed a lady not long ago, she's a psychologist, and she was talking about when you are going through transitions in your life, you can't go into it with the expectation it's all going to go smoothly and things are going to improve right away and be, again, like linear. There's just, if you go in realistically, and that goes with season changes like spring or whatever types of things, and there's going to be sometimes it's going to be tough. So just embrace that and know, okay, well, this is a sign that I'm growing. I expected this, so it's not going to demolish me. This isn't I'm not just going to call it a failure.
Yeah.
But if we embrace that, and we won't get so down on the days that there's snow, or we won't be so down on the days that maybe there's an extra challenge that we hadn't anticipated.
Right. You were saying how days are longer, things like that. So I just briefly am looking here again on the spring equinox because as we were saying, it's like the patience thing. So ideally, during the equinox as well, so daylight and darkness are nearly equal in length. So if we think about how long does it take for things to become equal across a plane, it doesn't happen overnight, right? So it's going to like take some time. So weather's going to have to kind of like come and go, right? And it says the sun rises precisely due east and sets precisely due west. So it's again almost a complete balance. And then again, the longer days where we're getting, a lot longer, or the sun is rising a little earlier. So again, everything takes that time for it to just slowly, even though it would be nice to wake up and it's like completely spring, like yay. But so we know. But I also think of it as, I don't know if it's like culture or if it's just sort of like, okay, this is the end of it. We know when it snows, it's like, okay, like this is it. It's like taking off the coat, right? It's like, okay, here we go. We're ready. We're ready for spring. Let's have our final dumping. And it's kind of like initiation process for Canadians to be like, okay, you guys really want it. Here's your last dumping of snow. And here you go, right? There you go. Shedding it away. Here we go, Deena. So with that, I was laughing and I had sent Deena something before and I said fever because everyone's like spring fever, right? And I was trying to look for music that was like
Ready for spring,
fever.
ready for summer.
Ready for fever. So, right? Did you know? I'm going to share this again. That there is a technical term for spring fever.
There is, and there's with more sun, we get more serotonin, which is a feel-good hormone, I think it is. And so there is something behind that. The other thing is we talk about cabin fever in the winter, and now we talk about spring fever. So spring fever is kind of like the thawing of the cabin fever where you feel so isolated. And in a way they're similar too, because cabin fever is often thought of as you don't want to be in hibernation mode anymore. You're tired of it. You're itching to get, like, you're going stir crazy inside where you're trying to stay warm.
Yeah.
Then that's almost like it leads to that spring fever where it's like, yes, here we go. We can go out and our face won't freeze off.
Hallelujah. Right, absolutely. So again, symptoms and characteristics of spring fever, if you will, restlessness and energy. So like you said, we have now this strong desire to move, get outside, be active. Our mood gets boosts up, a feeling of optimism and excitement. I get excited for like the hot weather. I get excited to see like little flowers just popping up
Yes.
out of the ground, especially for you as a gardener. Like that's just like you see like just the tip and you're like, oh, so soon.
This
Come
is a
on.
clean show. This
Come
was a
on, little
clean cut
buddy.
show, Carrie. That's what she
Yeah.
said.
Oh yeah.
Or what he said. Crocuses. So that's why I put them on our graphic, our poster for today's episode, was crocuses, those little purple flowers that pop up
Yes.
annually in the spring, was always such a exciting sign for me because I grew up with like horses and cattle, and before I'd get on the school bus at like 7:45 or something in the morning, I would have already taken whatever horse I was training or breaking out through the pasture and looked for any new calves. And if I also happened to discover crocuses, it was super exciting because
But you
it didn't
know,
mean the snow was going to be gone, but the earth was saying,
I'm thawing.
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm back. And
I'm
a
in a
really
happy
sweet,
mood.
yeah, a really sweet little story. And I might have shared it on a year ago in a spring episode, was how much my kids, when they were little toddlers, would love to pick those crocuses. And so they would go out with my dad, their grandpa, and they would come back with grocery bags full because they're just like, we know the spots and they're prolific. So we're not harming the environment in any way, but they would then make up little bundles of wet paper towel wrapped around, little bouquets. And then I would take and drive them around to our neighbors, like in the country and in town, especially like the older ladies or shut-ins or, people like that, our neighbors or friends. And these two little toddlers would go up to the door. They were probably like 5 and 2, and say, "Happy spring." and people got, so they would really look forward to that. And it was cute. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. You may have brought it up, but I think it's a refreshing story and a reminder that with spring, it brings surprises and it brings like just that, and like that energy. Even kids, like you can just see it all over their face. Like they're so happy. They see they're, like I said, popping up through the ground. It's like, wow, look at this over here. And it's like, it's new. It's like they've never seen it before. So with that, it's like our interest too, to that, going, wow, I never noticed it before, because we're so busy worrying about the snow. We're worrying about when is spring going to get here, but we don't notice the tiny little details.
When's the last time you went splashing in a puddle of water, like through the mud or through water puddles, and just
my car,
like the kid? No, just being a kid again, and how fascinated they are to do that. And that's one of the big things that comes with spring.
I go splashing when I go paddleboarding. Does that count?
That counts. That'll
in
count.
A big puddle of water?
Yeah, big puddle.
Well, I do. I get the same way. I get excited because I know it's just, you're in the sun and you get to just go and relax and take that time for yourself and just enjoy what nature is and become part of it and just stop whatever you're doing for that day and just relax. And it's like you time. So with spring, I find it's like that one step closer to it being just warm enough to actually be able to go out on the water. And then again, like all kids get excited. They're like, oh, we can actually finally get our bikes outside and we can finally go play in the backyard and do all the little things. So it's, you just kind of have to play around with it. So, for me, that's like my little kid season is like when summer comes. And again, like I said last year for the summer shifts, I was like, I know when summer's coming, when, the dollar stores and the Walmarts and the bigger whatever stores, have all like the toys out, right? So
Yeah.
spring,
Water
even
toys.
they start putting them on the shelf, and I'm like, okay, well, it's getting into spring at least, so it's like, okay, this is a good sign.
It is, yeah. So Walmart is where you discover your special little spring signs of spring. I love that, Carrie.
Well,
I think
dollars,
it's
wherever.
well, and I think it's fun to look for those signs and appreciate them year after year. That
Yeah,
it just gives you a boost in energy and feeling like there's fresh starts. And if you're wanting to purge and make changes and come out of hibernation, so some of the things people, it's like,
yeah,
oh, you want to lose that weight you put on in the winter, or you want to purge through your closet. Now, when you're kind of switching from winter clothes to summer clothes, for instance,
yeah,
it's a, I myself, spring and fall were both times that I really felt the urge to what people call it spring cleaning, but to
yeah,
sort
to
and
purge.
refresh and let go of some things. And it's interesting that how much does serotonin actually play into that? And people even will feel maybe more romantic. I think Valentine's should maybe be in April.
Right. Well, that goes actually right back to where I'm going to pull it back up here. If I can find it, I'm going to play around. No, now I moved Deena out of here. No, I don't want to do that. Oh my goodness. So going back to the spring fever, it actually does say on there, how about this? It says right here, romantic interest, often associated with increased romantic feelings, is during spring fever. So there you go. You're not even far off of that. So, because again, you go outside and it's just like a refreshing, it's a renewal. So why not, go out on your dates, get out with the family and have like your little, family time or the date time and just go, okay, because it's like now you're not stuck inside. You can actually, get dressed up, go outside, go for like patio beers or whatever you want to do. And I don't know, I always find when it comes to, well, it could be spring because of the patios and that. It's very romantic when get the lights on, like the patio lights and all that. But I want to get into summer stuff because that could lead into summer very easily. But again, like you said, the romantic stuff, and then you get the babies again, the calving season, right? So they've obviously been
Yeah,
romantic, right?
yeah. Well,
So,
even
but
getting out in nature and being able to spend some time instead of freezing. You can go for
yeah,
some walks, you can enjoy looking for those signs. There's buds on the trees. What else is popping up? And it's exciting to see the ice break on the river and that kind of thing. But part of that shedding, so I want to bring this back kind of to that mindset or that perspective shift that we can aim for. Part of that
absolutely.
shedding as well is I speak a lot around visibility and invisibility. And I find that we get in all our layers, literally like our
Mm,
clothing layers to stay warm and kind of hibernate, and we hide in there. And it's kind of also a parallel to how many of us live our lives. And it can be a little bit like when you take a vacation in the middle of winter to a hot climate
yeah,
and you pull out a bikini and you've been living in 3, 4, 5 layers of clothing, and all of a sudden you are just wearing a bikini. You
very
feel naked. I
vulnerable.
mean,
Yeah,
depending on your bikini, you basically are, but it's,
yeah,
you just feel very exposed and vulnerable. And I think that that's also a parallel for how some of us feel in the spring, is coming out of that and feeling
hmm,
like, should we be expected to show up more? We don't really have the
yeah,
weather. We also don't have literally the layers of clothing that we've maybe been kind of hiding in. And that is okay. It's okay if
yeah.
you're feeling that way. If we're all excited about spring, and for some people, maybe that there's a little feeling of it's a discomfort as well,
Yeah.
right? And their friends are maybe going, "Oh man, a fresh start, and I'm going to lose weight," and they're thinking, "Oh, should I be doing that too? Or what's wrong with me that I don't feel motivated?" So
Hmm.
yeah, just give
Well,
yourself some grace.
yeah, because sometimes, like you said, some people are very different where it's like maybe they are winter people. they love winter and they don't want to see spring actually come. They're like, so it's like totally opposite. And they're like, well, I really enjoy being inside and watching my movies and hibernating, and I don't have to deal with people and deal with, maybe noise of traffic or noise of kids or whatever comes along. Even spring and summer, there's always kids out for spring break. There's kids out in summertime, they're not even in school. So it's very different hours where you don't have that same quiet time, right? So it can be drastically different for a lot of people that are like, hey, I don't want to deal with the outside noise. I want to deal with being inside. I'm comfortable with that. And I don't even want to open up a window. That's not,
Well, and
I don't know. It's not
yeah, I think
often,
the
but
longer daylight hours also make us feel like we should be more productive instead
mhm,
of shutting it down earlier because it's not
yeah,
getting dark as early. And so you're like,
very
well, it's
hard
still daylight. I should still be
doing something.
energized. I should still be being
Yeah.
productive and doing more. And I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but I
Yeah.
think a lot of people can probably relate to that you do feel like you should be doing more. You shouldn't be shutting it down and getting all cozy because it's dark outside already. Um, it's a pressure that we put on ourselves more than I think is
Yeah. More than most.
necessary.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm the same. It's like I'll look out and I'm like, well, sun's still up. I'm up. And then our bodies too, the circadian rhythms, So it's like, are we up early? Are we going to bed or like later? So our whole body is all out of whack, and we're like, we don't even know what's going on because we like the sun's up, we should be up, you know.
Yeah.
So like for myself, I am very much like I need darkness when I sleep. So I've got like the shades and close the curtains so that I can go, okay, I need to get up at a certain time. Otherwise, any peak of light will wake me up. Right. And then I'm like, well, oh, it's only 6 a.m. I can't be up. It's
You
too
don't sleep with your
early.
little beauty mask? You don't
I
have the
actually
little
do
beauty?
have one.
Yeah,
I actually do have
nice.
one. Just depends. Like sometimes I can wear it all night, and other times it's like I'll just wear it early morning if I get to the bathroom in the morning really early and it's like 5 a.m. or something, and I'm like, oh, okay, a couple more hours of sleep, I'll throw it on and you know go back to sleep. So just depends. And then same with like evening time. You're sitting there, you're watching a show before you know it's 10 o'clock
Yeah.
and the sun's just setting and you're like, oh, like how did that happen? I should be going to bed like an hour ago or 2 hours ago, whatever your schedule is, right? And then you're thrown off and you're tired the next day, but you're still excited because it's like the sun's out.
Yeah.
So it's like this, like go, like it's horrible on yourself, right? Like you just go, 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 go. So I think we need to sit back and go, okay, what are maybe some shifts that we want to do this spring? Do we want to set some timers for ourselves and go, okay, like let's get to bed at a regular time, even though we want to stay up? Or do we want to get out and exercise a nice little walk before bedtime? Is that something that's going to help us relax? Maybe take that in, like, and kind of, balance that out. Or are we comfortable with, just shutting things down earlier? Or do we want to stay out late? How do we want to take this spring, right? Because otherwise, I mean, I'll be like, I'll just go. So I think we got to
Exactly.
listen to
Yeah.
our bodies, right? We got to listen to our bodies. And again, there's a vulnerability of like, okay, do we accept all the invitations to go to like all the parties and the spring parties and garden parties? And, we're now getting like venues and events happening in the city that are like outside. Lots of things are happening. And it's like, you're going to get invitations to all these things because everyone's go, go, go. And they want to
Yeah.
celebrate, right? Part of our culture being in Canada is like, okay, we want to go outside. We want to, our festivals are going to start like creeping up, right? Like our Mother's Day will be coming up next month. And then it's kind of like Cowway Park opens up in May. Heritage Park opens up full time. Like all the outside event stuff is opening soon. So do
Let's
we,
share
do we want
some
to
of the
jam that in?
information that you dug up about
Traditions.
some of the festivals that are happening in other parts of the world. to celebrate spring and some of the traditions that they have?
So I just kind of briefly dug up a few traditions because it's like, well, we kind of know what we do here in Canada, I mean, it's what it is. So some interesting events, and I was just kind of briefly looking through this before we popped on here. And so Russia, Slovenia, and Poland, sorry if I offended anyone, I'm trying to pronounce it all correctly. They have butter lambs that they do. And of course, this kind of relates to Easter because we just had Easter. So a lot of these articles have a lot of like Easter traditions. So this was one of them where they make a lamb carved out of butter, which is kind of interesting. So, and that's just like a little centerpiece that they have, and it's kind of neat. And I guess you're supposed to use a butter lamb with proper etiquette to start at the back and leave the head for last. So it's completely opposite than one of these chocolate little kind of bunnies. But this is a
We usually start on the ears with them.
Right? Why do we do that?
I don't know.
We start at the top and work our way down because they're really easy to break off the ears.
I think so. They're fascinating.
I don't know. They're interesting.
You're talking about all this food. Is everybody else on a protein craze? I'm trying so hard to get all my protein in.
Oh
you
my
go
goodness.
ahead. I'm gonna sip here on my protein.
I had my protein shake earlier while I was busy. So we got some Australian bilbies. They're chocolate. These look like our Lindt chocolate Easter bunnies, don't they?
No.
They look kind of cute. So, and again, I'm like right for the ears. Just decapitate. And it was so funny. I actually saw like a chiropractor put up like their Easter ad, and they were like breaking the Easter bunny on the bed. And they were crossing it right where the ears were and like chopping his head off. It was so funny.
Hilarious.
Like, go figure, right? So again, they have these as well, but just a different type of bunny. Bosnia, they have this interesting type of like a festival of scrambled eggs. So again, eggs represent fertility. They represent the newness of life coming in. So this is, pretty much what they have. Again, they say the eggs are both delicious and symbolize the birth of a new life. So birth of a new season. Iran, they have this beautiful little spring tradition that celebrates the rebirth of nature where they have only 7 items. They've got an apple, garlic, vinegar, dried fruit, some sweet pudding, some sprouts, and red Persian spice. So these 7 elements are in place. Families can add more items such as coins, colored eggs, even goldfish.
Fun.
Right? And the table remains in place until this Nowruz celebration is over. So that's an interesting one. India is holy India. Isn't it Diwali? That's what I think, but it could be completely wrong. They have something I think very similar it's an outdoor festival. So these guys are starting festival season already. So look at India go. I mean, look at them. And Thailand. They're also, because they actually celebrate their new year. And we touched upon that for our spring shift. Yeah, with our April Fool's shift, sorry. Because April Fool's, like we said, was technically back when the Gregorian calendars were first kind of, before they really changed everything, they really like the new year was technically like April 1st. So that doesn't surprise me that now being a couple weeks into their like the new year, they're celebrating it, right? Mm-hmm. So, and again, it goes along with the shedding, it goes along with your weight loss and all of like our New Year's goals. It's sort of the same thing. So here's kind of a cool thing, the spring equinox in Mexico. So in Mexico, excuse me, the spring equinox occurs when the sun shines directly above the Earth's equator, which we talked about, causing equal day and night. In Mexico, one of the most popular places to celebrate is at the Oh my goodness, I'm not even going to say it. One of the pyramids. I can't even pronounce it. But anyway, so it's the Pyramid of the Sun. So every year people dressed all in white and they climb to the top of this pyramid. And I know a lot of pyramids you're not actually allowed to climb there, but this one you are allowed to climb because it is for this celebration. So they all dress in white, go to the top, and they believe that the white cloth or the white linens will absorb good energy. And of course, that goes into you, right? And that will bring out a good flow everywhere, I believe. This is pretty cool. I'm not going to go too much more, but Holland, they've got this pretty cool flower parades. I mean, that's, and I think like in Holland as well, they actually start their tulip season in spring. Well, it does kind of say that. Right. Egypt, there you go into eggs. Well, we know what eggs symbolizes fertility in that. Some other games that they have in Bulgaria. They get together. And China, they are balancing eggs. That would be kind of fun. You ever play the egg and spoon race?
Oh, yes, I've played that.
Right. Pot throwing in Greece. Let's go to Greece and throw some pots around.
Anger.
So I guess, it's to ward off bad spirits and all that. So it's bringing in good luck. So smash everything in your house. You didn't hear it here. Right? Oh my goodness. So that was a few little interesting little tidbits. And it's interesting to, figure out what is everybody else doing around the world. And, perhaps some of our immigrants that are here in the city, they may have those traditions. So if they're doing something different than what we do, you could always ask them and be like, hey, what's your tradition? And maybe even be a part of it. So I don't know. I don't think I would wear white and climb to the top of Calgary Tower, though. I would be.
I don't feel like it's a holy Mecca place of spiritual resonance.
Maybe too up to the Banff gondola up there. We could have a party all dressed in white
or something. Yeah, I think that would work.
Right. But that was interesting. I thought it was kind of neat.
Well, I love, Cari, how you mentioned that when we notice differences about people, that we ask. We have many people with different traditions and different things that they do. It might be related to their culture or not. Because I did a fascinating experiment. I thought it was pretty fascinating and inspired. I spoke at an event on Saturday, and it was a gala. And I don't know if you saw my post on social yet, but I did a little experiment. And so what I did is I wore one of these red mittens on my right hand. As soon as I arrived, I popped it on, and I was in a kind of a little black dress, and like it totally was incongruent.
Little black dress?
A little black dress. And
yes.
And I went in, I registered, I was shaking people's hands, I was saying hello to people, I went to the bar, I was talking to different people here and
were you shaking with the mitten hand or the other hand?
With the mitten hand on my right hand. I'm shaking with a mitten. I don't have a jacket. I've taken my jacket off. I still have my mitten on. Only one mitten. And even the people I wasn't talking to or shaking hands with or sitting with, you'd see them look and like wonder, right? Only one person, and it was the keynote speaker who was sitting at the same table as, like, there was 8 of us at the table.
Yeah.
He's the only one that asked me about it. And I said, well, stay tuned. It's actually a little experiment I'm running, and I will tell the results during my speech.
Yeah.
And so I talked about invisibility. I talked about making connections with people. Also, questioning that bully that's in your head that you live with all your life. Is it being a bully? Is it making you feel the need to be invisible? Have you tuned in and actually paid attention to what it's saying? Maybe there's something to learn, but there's probably a lot of lies that you could challenge. Let yourself be visible. And the results of my experiment, I said, is there anything about me that you're wondering about or seems a little out of the ordinary? thank God somebody said the mitten, because if they'd have said it something else, I don't know what I would have talked about. But I said, yes, the mitten. And I said, only one, I've shaken hands, I've talked to people, I've walked back and forth, and
Yeah.
only one person commented on it and asked me about it. And I said, I'm not trying to be young Sheldon, who wears the germaphobe. I'm not trying to start a new trend, but I was running an experiment because I was curious if people would ask about a red mitten.
Yeah.
It's not like, ask about it. And why are we afraid to ask? Why, we don't want to offend people. We don't know how to ask. We think we might be snoopy or invasive or whatever it is. But here's the thing: people do appreciate our attention. They appreciate our interest. They appreciate that we want to get to know them better. That we've noticed them, and we've noticed this about them. And so when they start asking you, or when you start asking them and are showing interest, they're going to reciprocate more than likely, and then they'll be more interested to ask you. And that all works towards our mental health as well, because when we're building those connections, then we're more likely to have a level of trust, and we're more connected, and we know people a little better, so that if we feel something off, we're going to notice it and be more likely to have a tougher conversation than, what their favorite hockey team or about their dog or their kids' sports or something.
Like the usual topics.
Yeah, we can kind of take it to the next level and ask how we can help them. But this comes back to, that's a great opening to get to know people. Maybe your neighbors have a decoration out and you're like, what the heck are they celebrating? Ask. Ask to know about it. Say, hey, I'm curious. Like, tell me about this tradition, or is this cultural, or, is this like, ask people.
Yeah. It's not like don't be afraid like you're invading their privacy or whatever, but when they're outside, there's a moment that you will be able to go and approach them and go, hey, I love your decoration. Please tell me a little bit more about it. Show enthusiasm, like you are interested, because you want to know what's going on in their world. And maybe, maybe they're afraid to put out more decorations because they're like, well, in our spring tradition, we put out like a little bunny or some little eggs and we put it all out on the lawn. Well, it represents Easter, but maybe there's another culture where they have the pyramids or they have something representing that little celebration, but they're afraid to put out more and show it off because they feel like people are going to be looking. People are going to have
judging and assuming
or judging or whatever. And like they're weird because who puts out strange yard decorations instead of Easter stuff or whatever. So it's like welcoming, be more welcoming, show like your interest and go, like you said, start that conversation. What's going on? When you said the mitten, obviously, you were saying it was for an experiment, but of course a lot of people would be like, well, they would assume germs or something. So that's probably why some people won't bring it up, is because they don't want to offend you or think, oh, she's a germaphobe. Like, don't get too close.
I think
did you also notice people being like a little,
yeah. And I think
like
that was also interesting because they obviously thought I wasn't trying to hide it. Why would I wear a big, thick red mitten instead of a little black glove or something, right? That's
matches your dress and was
fancy. I don't know. And it was just
driving gloves.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was kind of fascinating. Anyways, that's enough of that. I'm curious to know, since we're talking about spring.
Yes.
What do you consider the temperature that signifies spring? Where does it have to hit? What day does it hit warm enough to be considered spring for you?
Oh my goodness. That's tough.
For me, I think it's 20.
When there's like no coats, when I can go outside, even if I'm just wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
Like I would say, like plus 8 degrees is, but it's like a warm 8 degrees, or like you said, kind of around 10 degrees. Not necessarily has to be double digits, but like when it's approaching, like, okay, it's 8 in the, like you wake up and it's 8 degrees.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
by noon, it's going to be like 15 degrees. And you're like,
Mhm.
yeah, I like that. And that's what I also consider spring as well, is the shift in temperature during the day and then the shift back in the evening. Then, it's like the fluctuation again, the balancing of the weather and everything. It's like, okay, we're getting warmer and then it's going to cool off. And then we know summer's approaching when it gets warmer, warmer, warmer. And it's not so cool in the evening. And it's like, okay, so to me, that really signifies like, okay, this is spring, when
There's
often
still
it's like, yeah,
a bigger
there's
fluctuation.
no, it's like staying above zero for sure.
That's a good
Staying
point,
above
Cari.
5. Yeah.
I find it fascinating that how much we climatize. So in the fall,
Yeah.
on an 8-degree day, we are already in 2 layers at least, if not 3 for some of us.
Spring.
But in the spring, we're outside in shorts at 6 degrees or 5 degrees. Like if because we have actually
We've had
climatized.
enough.
Yeah, I actually have already 2 or 3 days been on my outside deck where it's sheltered, so up against a wall and sheltered out of the wind and laying in the sun, like in a bikini in the sun. I've already done that 2 or 3 days here in Alberta this spring. And the whole yard was covered in snow, but the deck, we keep it cleared off. So it was completely dry and cleared off. And that
Yeah.
sheltered spot, the sun was strong enough to actually be warm enough to be there. And it didn't hit my magic 20, maybe right on the surface. If you were to measure the temperature in that sheltered spot, it probably was closer to that. But to me, I start feeling some hopefulness that maybe it's going to stick around, and we have some days that we have been pretty close. I think maybe we have hit one day that was close to 20.
And we're like, oh, it's getting so exciting. Like it's coming. And then
I could
it's like,
pack with turtlenecks.
right. And again, I've also found like purging has been, probably the past month for me. I've just been purging away and going, okay. I always kind of know when a new season is about to hit, when it's like I feel myself purging in a certain way, whether it's like just my environment, or whether it's who I surround myself with, or just whatever. I'm just like, okay, wow, it's really interesting to see like that kind of shift. So what about yourself? What do you find is like the biggest sign for you, whether you're shifting into spring? Well, yeah, we'll just do shifting into spring. What's like your big aha? I'm ready.
My big thing is to be able to be outside more, because it's no secret, I hate having to move snow. Hate it. If I don't hate snow if it will stay off the roads and the sidewalks, but it won't, of course, obviously. But
Yeah.
I really hate having to deal with it. To be able to actually sit out on my deck, read a book, go for a walk, and not worry about ice or snow or my face freezing, that to me is that release, like that sense of freedom, and you're not isolated.
Freedom.
That's one of the biggest things I enjoy too, is just say to take a vacation in the winter is to feel warm. Just feel warm. I just don't want to feel cold. I don't want to have to you're always thinking, what's the temperature going to fluctuate to later in the day, or less layers. And again, so another analogy would be like the onions. And this goes back to like that other parallel, is as we peel layers, that just feeling freer and feeling like we're less under attack by the weather, also is like a parallel in life where, and this lady that I talked about earlier, the psychologist, and she talked about peeling off the layers as we go through changes and letting some things go. And I said to her, I like that you used an onion, because as you peel layers of an onion, there's also often tears, and sometimes it's relief, sometimes it's joy, sometimes it's frustration, sometimes it's exhaustion. And I think when we go through season changes, whether it's a life season in our life or a season in nature, we feel some of that layers. We're either letting them go or or bringing them back in. And I think for me, that at least is kind of what spring is like. It's like, okay, I can recommit to some things that I think are important. It's going to be easier now. So say health, I can get outside, and yard work is exercise. I can actually go for a walk outside instead of on the treadmill or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you, especially about the layers. And it's like, as soon like everyone knows, I'm not a fan of winter either. I'm trying to just go through it. Right. We do
Survive.
what we have to do without trying to complain too much. However, I'm the same. It's like as soon as I'm like, oh, cold weather's coming, you got to bundle right up. And it's like, how much more time does that take to bundle up, to start a vehicle, to take snow off, to do even
Right.
just to go for a walk? How many
Yeah.
layers is it going to be? Like maybe if you're in a neighborhood, you're okay tucked in there, but once you get onto a main road, it's going to be super windy and it's like not enjoyable and you want to go back home, right? So it's to me it's like, well, again, it's the freedom. It's
Yeah.
like I can just walk outside, pair of shorts, t-shirt, and
Yep.
maybe a hoodie if it's in the evening, and phone in my pocket, key in the other hand in my pocket.
Yeah.
I'm good to go. Like I'm like, I'm a very minimalist person. I hate hauling all my stuff. And I'm like, this is good. Like you said, freedom.
Well, it's less of a commitment. You literally throw on the shoes, boom.
Bye.
It's not like, okay, the temperature is this, but is it windy or is it not? Do I need an extra layer on my legs and or just a long jacket? Well, that suffice. Am I going to need to wear a toque? Like the other day, I went for a walk and it seemed like it was really nice, but that wind was so cold and I didn't have a hood on my sweater. And oh, that was so uncomfortable. Like my ears and my neck and my head just ached because they were frozen.
Yeah. And
And
it chills to your bone and you
yeah,
can't
that
get
was not
warm.
fun.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, I
There's,
think
yeah.
we've pretty much, what do you think?
I
Pretty
think
much
spring
covered
has
everything?
sprung. We can officially say, welcome everyone to spring. And we can all enjoy it and have fun and just, bear with what we've got coming because it's just starting to snow now. I see.
Yeah. And may
Well,
your allergies not aggravate you too badly. That's something that people suffer in the spring. So, yeah.
yeah, we didn't even touch on the allergies, but that's okay. Everyone knows whoever suffers allergies. I even find there's an increase of just dust, and I just like sets me off sneezing or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, it's springtime, and people because they have their windows open a little bit more, there's more dust around, so it's like, well, it's a good sign. So
Yep.
I'll take it. But yeah,
That's one
everyone
of
have
those
a
embrace the suck things, right?
yeah, suck it up. And I mean, it's not, I mean, enjoy it, right? Like we could have our summer and like nice fall right into November. Who knows?
Yeah.
So we get a little bit of it now. I'm okay with that. It'll be here. It'll be gone within a couple days. Please be gone a couple days. And we're good. All right.
Okay.
So, but we will be back in a couple weeks with our
Yeah.
next shift happens, where all the shifting happens with all of our favorite shifters, our groupies. We
Thanks
love
for
you all.
tuning in. And
Yeah.
let us know if you have any ideas of topics or special guests, or if you want to be a guest on our show. We'd love to explore that with you
Yes,
and bring you on and make you part of the conversation.
absolutely. With that, everyone, have a great day. We'll see you guys shifters soon. Bye.
Lou.